For nearly 40 years, he's been the face of extreme weather.
Oh! Listen to that!
This week, I'm going off the radar with the legendary Jim Cantore to explore the remarkable journey of America's most trusted storm chaser.
It's kind of the never-ending storm, man. You know, I mean, a lot of times we go to these big hurricanes and big winter storms and the sun comes out and you start the cleanup process.
We'll trace his career from the very beginning.
My brother comes up and goes, "Hey, Jim, the Weather Channel called. They want you to come interview." I was like, "Oh, no kidding. We just got them on cable."
To becoming the voice millions depend on when evacuation orders ring out across coastal communities.
If you're going to tell me that I have to tell these people to leave, at least I could stand out there and show them why I asked them to leave.
You'll hear the untold stories behind those viral moments.
If you remember the shot, he started screaming as he was coming toward me.
And discover how he's managed to stay grounded while standing in the eye of public attention.
But when people meet you, it means something. And you better treat everybody with respect because they're taking their time. They want to meet you. They want to say hi. They want to tell you a story.
But Jim opens up about something deeper, the personal storms he's weathered away from the cameras, the lessons he's learned from hundreds of tropical systems and thousands of live broadcasts, and the quiet moments of reflection between the chaos.
That's the card you're dealt. That's the mission that God gave you, and I'm going to take it. And I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to succeed. I'm going to fail. I'm going to succeed and I'm going to fail. And that's kind of the way life goes.
Join us as we explore not just the meteorologist, but the man behind the legend and what lies ahead for one of television's most enduring figures.
2 words, Em. Mission accomplished.
I'm meteorologist Emily Gracie, and you're listening to Off the Radar, a production of the National Weather Desk. On the show, we dig deep into topics about weather, climate, the ocean, space, and much more. Our goal is to help you better understand the weather and to love it as much as we do.
Searching for a romantic summer getaway? Escape with Rich Girl Summer, the new Audible original from Lily Chu. The exquisitely talented Philippa Soo, returning to narrate her 5th Lily Chu title. This time, Philippa is joined by her real-life husband, Stephen Pasquale. Set in Toronto's wealthy cottage country, aka the Hamptons of Canada, Rich Girl Summer follows the story of Valerie, a down-on-her-luck event planner posing as a socialite's long-lost daughter, while piecing together the secrets surrounding a mysterious family and falling deeper and deeper in love with the impossibly hard-to-read and infuriatingly handsome family assistant, Nico. Caught between pretending to belong and unexpectedly finding where she truly fits in, Valerie learns her summer is about to get far more complicated than she ever planned. She's in over her head and head over heels. Listen to Rich Girl Summer now on Audible. Go to audible.com/richgirlsummer.
Jim Cantore.
Oh my gosh.
So good to have you on. Finally, I feel like we've been talking about this forever.
We have, and we've been talking about it at conferences, over wine tasting. You name it, we've been talking about it. Yeah.
Let's talk about you because this is amazing. You're such, a huge figure in the weather community, but you're also just like a really nice guy. So I want to get a lot of info from you today on your life and your career and weather in general. So can we go way back to the very beginning?
Like when I had hair and stuff.
You had hair?
Do you know what my nickname was in high school?
What?
Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Comb your hair, Cantore.
Oh.
I mean, I had a go Google Cantore High School.
Really? There's pictures out there?
Oh my God. It's unbelievable.
All right. I'm doing that immediately after we're done here.
I'm doing it right.
Speaking of Googling you, I Googled you today for the first time because I realized how little I know about like your earlier career. And, you and I've talked a lot over the years, but I know a lot about like your interests now. So I want to go way back to like when you became a meteorologist in your childhood. You're a fellow New Englander, just like myself.
Yeah.
So tell me about your interest in weather. Like, how did it start? When did it begin?
I mean, it's all about the snow.
Oh.
Lots and lots of snow. Born in Connecticut, and I really call Vermont my home state because I really grew up there, But I mean, the blizzard of 78 was just like a dream because the snow was over my head. The piles I was like, when you drove on the road, it was like being in a tunnel. I mean, it was just kind of magical, I can't really describe it. But what's really weird is during all that, I mean, I didn't know about studying the weather. I mean, I was just worried about sports and paying my insurance on my Jeep and things like that. So it was like, my dad is the guy. He goes, listen, you're an absolute freak when it snows outside. You got to go study the weather. And I'm like, really, Dad? He goes, yeah, you leave the barn light on for the first flakes. You go shovel the walkway for your mom. He goes, look, you got to wake up for the next 50 years of your life every morning. You better love what you do. I remember sitting at the edge of the dining room table and my dad walking through the dining room and literally saying that to me. It was just a stop by when he said that. But I never forgot that. And as they say, the rest is history.
You're from a big family, right? So where are you in the birth order?
Well, I'm the first. But one of the things you wouldn't know about me is I was actually adopted. Actually, all of us were adopted at birth. My mother miscarried 4 times. And every time she did, they would adopt a child. And I mean, there's no relation to me and my brothers and sisters biologically. But oh my God, I wouldn't trade anything for my brothers or sisters.
Oldest out of how many?
4 of us. So Jim, James, Paula, Vincent, Carol.
Okay, so then comes college. You go off to Linden State, stay pretty close to home, right? What was that like?
Yeah. So what was great is like, hey, Jim, there just happens to be a college that, has a meteorology program right up the road a piece. I'm like, oh my gosh, come home for a home cooked meal, laundry. I can't even imagine. Plus I was working at a radio station. I loved working radio, and to be able to come home and do that. I mean, come home on a Friday, do an all night radio shift, same thing on Saturday night, and then drive back Sunday to do homework and start the whole week again. So, work was just something my dad was pretty adamant about. I mean, he wanted us to work and know the benefits and the hardness of working hard. He wanted to know, like, life's not easy. I mean, he grew up in the Depression. They didn't have much at all. Same thing with my mom. So it was working hard and really understanding what it was like to work and get something out of it and achieve things. So I can't thank him enough for that. I wouldn't have it any other way. So
were you in high school or college when the Weather Channel started?
High school. Because it was 82. I mean, I was just graduating. Okay. And it wasn't until 84 when we got the Weather Channel in White River Junction, Vermont. I was done with college. I was painting a building. My brother comes up and goes, hey, Jim, the Weather Channel called. They want you to come interview. I was like, oh, no kidding. We just got them on cable. So it was really weird when I went down there because I'm like all starstruck with like Bruce Edwards and Mark Mancuso and Gay Dawson and Bill Kinney. I was like, I see these guys on TV all the time. So it was kind of weird. But this guy named Ray Ban decided to give this Italian kid from Vermont a chance. And so a week later, I drove down in my, 1984 white Mercury Capri with a T-top through a massive heat wave through South Carolina. It was 106 degrees. I mean, God forbid, I would have figured out that I could have driven at night. Hello. No air conditioning. I kept that car for 3 years with no AC because I work mornings. I don't need air conditioning in the morning. And I live close to work. I'll just get in there, Dates didn't go that well. Dates without air conditioning. And that didn't always go really well. So, but whatever.
We'll get into your love life in a little bit, but that'll be for later.
Do you have an hour? Do you have an hour and a half, 2 hours for that?
Okay, so yeah, that was one thing I learned about you last time I saw you was this was your first and only job. You've worked at the Weather Channel your entire career. Yeah. Do you have any regrets about everybody always says to meteorologists that are kind of getting into the business, like you have to start in a small market and you have to put in your dues. Do you feel like you missed out on some of that stuff?
No, not at all. I mean, I was so lucky and was so fortunate. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I got as much out of the Weather Channel as the Weather Channel got out of me. I mean, it was a really nice, we kind of grew up together. I started, it was cable's heyday. We were in 28 million homes and we went to 106 million. And of course, we're down now because, cable's not a thing anymore, but people still watch us. People still keep us, there's still people that are watching and especially with small towns. Hey, Jim, you pronounce that town Holton, Maine or whatever, whatever it is, whatever town it is, they always correct you on the towns. And I'm like, that's great. I don't know how to say all these towns.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And there are There are different states that have the same name of their town and they're all pronounced differently.
Yeah.
So it's crazy times.
What has the like evolution been like? Did you early on have to like explain to people what you do and where you work, and you've gone full circle to now you can't go anywhere without people yelling your name and knowing exactly what you do?
Which I don't really understand, except for maybe a little luck. Let's say maybe 7 episodes of Thunder Snow on live television. Maybe a kid rushing you at Charleston, at the College of Charleston. That commercial that they did in Wilmington, North Carolina, about people running from me, which they played for like 1 year on TV and then brought it back on social media like years later, and it just went absolutely viral. I mean, I think those kind of things really kind of created this enigma. Other than that, I'm just an operational forecaster, which I love to be. I'm not a limelight guy. It's just not my thing.
The thing is that like I've been with you in public and you make everybody feel like they're your friend. So I think it's the community involvement too. I think you're not giving yourself enough credit. It's not just luck. It's that communication you have with people.
Well, I appreciate that. But you know what? There's actually a story behind that. Yeah, I'm a huge Yankees fan. Everybody knows that. And my hero was Reggie Jackson. I love Reggie. I mean, 3 home runs. I was sitting there watching it with my dad during the World Series. I'm like, oh my God. So in Atlanta early on, they used to have this thing called the Super Show, which was everything to do with sports. And I mean everything: apparel, cards, autographs, everything to do with sports. So I would go to that every year because I was, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can meet some of my favorite baseball players. Tony Gwynn, he was a huge Weather Channel fan. What an intelligent, awesome guy Tony Gwynn was. Magic Johnson, one of my favorite people to ever meet. And they didn't, Tony knew who I was because he watched the Weather Channel before he traveled for away games. But Reggie's signing for Upper Deck. I'm waiting in line 40 minutes and I get there and, listen, I don't know if people are having a bad day or what their day's been like. All I know is I get to get an autograph from Reggie Jackson. So it's my turn. I'm like, Mr. Jackson, what an honor it is to meet you. I'd love for you to sign my baseball. So I hand him my baseball and he kind of slams it down. He goes, hey, how much time we got left? Oh, all right. He looks back at me and he goes, I suppose you want this signed. And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. Anyway, he signs it and he kind of plunks it back in front of me. But I kind of never forgot that because I thought, oh my gosh, that's my hero. And he was angry and he was upset. And I don't want to remember that. I want to remember the 3 home runs. So I always remember that. And I'm like, dude, when you're not Reggie Jackson, not even close. But when people meet you, it means something. And you better treat everybody with respect because they're taking their time. They want to meet you. They want to say hi. They want to tell you a story and take time with them. Now, listen, I'm not perfect all the time. There are times when I'm eating dinner with my kids or I'm out with my family and somebody wants to talk about, the Saffir-Simpson scale. I'm like, hey guys, give me a break here. I just sat down with my family if you don't mind. A lot of people are mostly polite, about it. But yeah, what you witnessed with me, Emily, was kind of a reaction from the whole Reggie Jackson ordeal. And I mean, I still love Reggie. I would listen to anything he has to say. I'd go get another autograph from him. Like I said, everybody has a bad day and I just may have caught him at one, but I just never forgot the impression it left on me. And I said, don't you ever leave that impression on anybody.
Yeah, I think I've had like similar experiences to that where I meet a celebrity and I'm just so disappointed in how they acted that I now when people say, who would you meet if you could meet anyone famous? And I'm like, well, nobody, because they're just people. Like nobody deserves that kind of power over us like that. That's ridiculous.
No, but I mean, some people are really outgoing and they want to talk to you. And it's like, oh my God, this is so great. I've met chefs, professional chefs up the road a piece from you in Greenville, at Euphoria, even in Charleston, the Food and Wine Festival, which is awesome every year. All these kind of things. And people are just wonderful. I for whatever reason, that stuck with me. And I just never want anyone to feel that way. And I can't say that everybody has not felt that way, but I'm giving it my best shot.
Well, you're doing great. All right, let's go back to kind of like mid-career here. And, I think every meteorologist...
the hair's going.
Yeah, the hair, it's starting to lose the hair. Yeah, 20 years ago. Also, this like whole, having small kids, raising a family, getting
Oh
married.
my goodness.
This is a really difficult time in life, period. Throw that in with being on national TV. And then you have like added complications in your scenario as well. Can you tell me a little bit, whatever you're willing to share, about your children?
Well, the never ending storm. Okay. So my wife had Parkinson's disease and young onset Parkinson's, like Michael J. Fox got. She was diagnosed at age 39. And of course, as that's going on, we find out we have 2 kids with Fragile X syndrome, full mutation. It's a little different in girls than it is boys because, girls have 2 X chromosomes. And it's really that chromosome that has a protein deficiency, and it comes out in physical ways. A lot of times it comes out in mental ways. It's really, the learning disability part. So, my son Ben will probably be a 7 to 11-year-old boy for the rest of his life, which frankly is fine by me. I love Mr. Ben. He makes life just about as awesome as it could be, and he grounds me. Christy is kind of caught in that 16 to 25 area, but she's hardworking and she's smart and she makes good decisions, and she's proven that she can live life mostly on her own. Ben won't be able to do that, but those kind of things. And then traveling, back then there was really no excuses. If you had to go out, you had to go out. I mean, it was for the team. Today, things have changed a little bit. I think it would have been a lot different. It's nice to see some of my colleagues with kids who have, special needs. They get a chance to deal with that a little bit better, but it's all my ex-wife. I mean, she deserves all the credit. I mean, she as much as I traveled, she dealt with that. She dealt with the Parkinson's. I mean, it was extremely difficult. Did I come home to an occasional shitstorm from being on the road? Of course I did. I mean, that's just life, everybody has those moments, but she was the rock, just like many women are, frankly. It's kind of the never ending storm, man. I mean, a lot of times we go to these big hurricanes and big winter storms and the sun comes out and you start the cleanup process. I mean, there's only so much you can clean up here. Parkinson's does not get better. It's very hard to watch someone literally deteriorate in front of your very eyes, but yet still wake up every day and try and eat and get their clothes on and brush their teeth. It's hard. Yeah, we talk every day. Tammy and I talk sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. We still share the kids and their responsibility. I just had to do it at a place I could manage it. And, I don't know if that's my biggest mistake that I ever made, but I'm doing the best I can. And I know she knows I love her and I do anything for her. So
it sounds like you've come to like a good, peaceful spot when it comes to like personal life. Did you ever, it seems, and I'm kind of in the midst of young children right now, but do you ever feel like when you got sent out to cover a hurricane, you were like, all right, that I can do, that I can handle, that is manageable. It's this craziness at home that is much harder to control.
Well, it's funny you say that because when you're around it every day, you kind of manage it daily. But when you come home to the pile, it's after being out in the storm, it's like, oh God. Like I said, the sun usually comes out and you kind of start the building back process, albeit slowly. And it's certainly not easy. And I'm not comparing that to what I'm going through in life, but sometimes you would come back to the pile. But honestly, you stop for a second, you say, listen, these guys are doing the best they can. Let's make it work. Let's get what we can taken care of before the next storm. And we had a lot of friends, a lot of help. So that certainly was a good thing. But I mean, when you first get diagnosed with a disease like Parkinson's, it's like, oh my God. And you're trying anything to get your life back. Like, what can I take? And sometimes you take the holistic route. Sometimes you get into these medications. But when Michael J. Fox came out and testified in front of Congress, there was so much money put into research and things like that. I think it's probably the reason why Tammy is still alive today.
Wow.
Seriously.
Wow.
Because of his testimony.
With the Fragile X, I think a lot of people don't even know. I've never even heard of that. Can you explain like what it is, how it happens genetically?
When you think of the autism spectrum, there's so many things. I mean, under it, I mean, a lot of similarities in behavior, touching, rigidity about got to have the schedule this way and that way. But underneath that, there's Asperger's, there's Fragile X, there's just kind of this broad area of autism. But there's a lot of similarities in some of the, some of the symptoms and things like that. But, there are, like you can't tell me that Elon Musk is not on the spectrum of some sort. Okay. But you can go that way or you can go the other way, which we know is associated with Fragile X. We know that's a learning disability. And frankly, I'm lucky. There are a lot of kids that are even so much worse, that have it so much worse, and parents that have it so much worse. So I never, ever stop for a second and say, woe's me. Oh my God. I stop and I go, okay, dude, rough day. But think about that mom and dad who, have a kid that's not going to work, that's not verbal, you can't communicate the feelings and things like. I'm telling you, it's rough, and I feel for every parent out there with a special needs child, whether it be whether it be Fragile X, whether it be cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, any of those. I mean, it's just very, very difficult.
Do you think you're a more well-rounded person now than you were 30, 40 years ago, though?
I think it absolutely mellowed me out a little bit for sure. I mean, back when you're in your 20s, I started at the Weather Channel when I was 22, for God's sakes. I was invincible. I played softball, almost every night. It was nuts. And, then when I played softball, I'd go to the gym afterward. I mean, it was just crazy. If I wasn't playing softball, I'd be at the gym. So it was just crazy times. And I just had so much energy. And I always see that in Ben, which is kind of funny. But it's a little uncontrollable. But so is mine, when you're that age. But it's definitely grounded me for sure in a good way. And I think that it's made me a better dad at the end of the day. Because, I just kind of I used to hide it. I didn't really want to talk about it. I didn't, because everybody comes up to you when they find out you're pregnant. Oh my God, I want you to have a great, healthy kid and everything goes well. And then when it doesn't, I mean, what do you do? Right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the card you're dealt. That's the mission that God gave you. And I'm going to take it. And I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to succeed. I'm going to fail. I'm going to succeed and I'm going to fail. And that's kind of the way life goes. Anyway, I thought we were talking about weather.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll get back to weather. I wanted to bring some awareness to it because I do think a lot of people don't know about it.
No, I you know what, Emily, I have not talked about Fragile X in my family this much with anyone. So, you're a friend. I don't mind talking to you about it. But Fragile X is learning disability. Like I said, you can be anything from nonverbal and really even non-mobile to actually not being what they call full mutation. Frax is a big, research organization based up in Boston. The National Fragile X Foundation. I mean, there's outreach. This lady who started an outreach in India, we follow each other on Instagram, and I see how she's doing over there with it. So it's everywhere. It's all over the world. And it's not too old a feature. I mean, autism is older than Fragile X, and along came Fragile X later than that when people realized, well, there's other things under this autism spectrum besides just plain autism. So you can start taking some of these things especially when you can find the gene, you can actually find the Fragile X gene. And then you can say, hey, this is Fragile X for sure. Yeah, it's nuts.
I couldn't help but notice weather kept popping up in kind of every bit of your personal life that you talk about too, even just comparing it to weather. So clearly you you have this passion for all types of weather. No, one thing I've always been impressed with you too is, and I've planned AMS conferences over the years and I've tried to talk you into speaking at them. And you're like, no, I don't speak at conferences. I'm there to learn. I'm there to be part of the audience and the group. And which, people could definitely learn from you. But I love that you're always furthering your education, like your love of weather, and you hold yourself accountable to staying up to date with what's going on when it comes to weather, and it's ever changing. Like this field is crazy. So over your 30 years, you've probably seen so much change in the field, but you're always staying up to date with what's going on, right?
From presentation to modeling to dissemination, to the phone. We've seen a lot of changes for sure. And I just love, I don't know, there's something about being an operational forecaster. There's something about like getting it right, especially when the game's on the line. It's like, you know what? I need to tell these people this. I need to be able to tell them this is dangerous. This is like life-threatening stuff. So, you know what? I'm a servant at the end of the day. I like being a servant. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like a job. It doesn't feel like it's laboring. But if you're going to be a true servant and true to yourself, you have to further your education because things change. Forecasting things change. The way that information is presented is changing. I mean, there's so many things, and we owe it to ourselves as scientists to keep up with the latest information. I mean, science is always changing. Sometimes the wrongs become what we find out eventually are oh my gosh, if that wasn't wrong, that hypothesis, then we wouldn't have come to this conclusion on things. They found, how many drugs have they found like that? Wasn't penicillin one of those? It was a mistake, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, this is actually a great find. We just owe it to ourselves in the science to keep up with it. And so what if I'm on national television? It doesn't matter. I just think that's a responsibility to being, a meteorologist and a servant. If you're true to yourself and true to your craft.
Okay. So, and social media, it's interesting too, because no offense, but you're not a young guy. You're 60. But you're very good on social media, like compared to other people your age, perhaps.
I don't think so. I
think you are.
Listen, my ex is my.
You know what Instagram is?
Right,
like
I know
that's
what Instagram
a big
is. I love posting other people's stuff because it's so good. I mean, some of these videos, especially in the Dakotas, that is some of what we had in June. That was the best June I've ever seen for tornadoes ever in my life. And now these guys are chasing them with drones, which makes me happy. They don't have to get as close, number one, and you can get that drone right there. You can look right into the meat of that thing with the drone. I mean, I love it. So I'm not there. I'm not out in the field. I'm back here operationally as a broadcaster, but I'm right there with you. Oh my God, I'm right there with you.
So you brought up the drones and not having to get as close. I'm curious about the future of, hurricane coverage, because this has been debated over the years too, like what's necessary and are we doing the right thing by getting in there and showing people stuff? But I have seen this transition in recent years where, and maybe you were never putting yourself in danger, it was just the illusion, but maybe you're pulling back a little bit and saying, listen, this is where we are right now because it's not safe to be out there and you shouldn't be out there either. Has there been that transition like in the past 20 years?
Through my life, for me, being out in 115 of these things, and this is all tropical systems, depressions, wannabes, tropical storms, and hurricanes. Some in Belize, 5 or 6 of them in Hawaii. I mean, I just been everywhere. But I always had in the back of my head, I'm like, look, and I had a big discussion with Craig Fugate about this. Craig was the former FEMA administrator and also the state emergency manager in Florida. He's like, Jim, why do you have to stand out there? He hated me for that. I'm like, Craig, listen. All right, listen, if you're going to tell me that I have to tell these people to leave, at least I could do is stand out there and show them why I asked them to leave. I said, let me worry about the location. Let me make sure I'm not in the storm surge. Let me make sure that, I'm wearing body armor under my jacket and I'm wearing a helmet. Let me worry about that. But I've always thought, listen, I'm asking these guys to leave. I want to show them why I asked them to leave. And we kind of came to a happy ground on that.
And I mean, every year, people may or may not watch the Weather Channel the rest of the year, but if something's happening, like everyone has their TV turned on, and it's kind of, you have this reputation now of like you show up in a town and everyone's like, uh-oh. That's like the number one thing I hear from people is that. And so like that's a big weight to bear though.
It's nice to be loved. I do love having the ball when the game's on the line. I won't lie. That's still a love of mine. I can still do it, I think. It's not as easy, and it's certainly a little rougher on you in the end of the day. But, I don't go out in everything anymore. It used to be everything from depression to storm. Now it's really the big stuff.
So the reputation is even more so there.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, too, is we're going to tell everybody how we're being safe. Okay. So it's interesting how much your bosses now follow social media. Why are you? Because, okay, great example last year, Milton, Punta Gorda, actually Port Charlotte. I was standing in this parking garage and it looked like I was in the middle of the water up to my waist, but I wasn't. I was in a parking garage, protected from the wind and debris. I was on an incline. So, every time the water came in, I would just step back. And I mean, maybe my feet were in the water in my boots, but my boss would say, Jim, you got to show everybody that. You got to stop and show everybody that you're not standing in the middle of the water because it looks like you're in the middle of the ocean right now. Look, at the end of the day, there's still a competition. Everybody wants to be in the best shot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's that, but you have to figure that out now with much more safety in mind and being able to tell the viewers how you're being safe. And does it take a little bit of the machismo part about it out of it? Maybe a little bit, but you know what? Like you said, I got some big numbers in front of my age now, so that's okay. That's okay. I've realized that I'm not invincible anymore, so that's a big deal.
I've heard stories over and over again about you over the years. When anybody hears your name, they kind of say the same thing, which is like, oh, this hurricane was coming. And then like Jim showed up in town and I was like, I gotta leave. So a friend of mine, actually, I had him do a voice memo because he was saying this story as well. Can I play this for you real quick?
Okay. Hi, my name's Steve Brzezinski. In September 2008, I lived in a little area called Bayou Vista, Texas, which is right outside of Galveston. When Hurricane Ike hit, we were up in the air as to whether we were going to leave or not. And my 70-some-odd-year-old neighbor across the street was adamant that he was not leaving. So the next morning I woke up and turned on the Weather Channel, and lo and behold, Jim Cantore is standing in front of the Galveston Convention Center on the seawall. And I looked at my wife and I was like, pack the car, we're out of here. Went to my neighbor across the street, just walked into his house, turned on his TV, pointed at Jim Cantore and said, Pat, they don't send the man close to the hurricane. They send him into the hurricane. It's time for us to go. And magically he packed a bag and we were all out of there. So I always wanted to meet the guy because not saying he saved my life, but his impact on me and my perspective on hurricanes changed dramatically over the years as I watched him. So appreciate you, Jim, and all you do.
Thanks, man. Make sure you tell Steve I said thank you. You know what? Mission accomplished. 2 words, Em. Mission accomplished. I don't want to scare everybody. That's not what I'm doing. I mean, I'm doing my job, but if you're asked to leave and if that's the decisive factor, then so be it. Be mad at me. I don't get it. And if it doesn't work out, be mad at me again too, because I'd much rather be wrong on that end than be wrong by not telling you to leave and get you in a bad situation. All right. That's the worst for any of us. We know that is to not have a warning for something and not be able to alert people. So, that's a great story. I appreciate you sharing that with me.
You hinted at this earlier. Viral moments that you think you're famous for, but I think they're just kind of blips in your history. One of them took place here in Charleston, South Carolina at the College of Charleston. And this one I love because like you didn't flinch and this college student ran up at you and you just like without even thinking or stopping your live shot or stopping talking, you turn and just like need him and pushed him away. Is there any background information on that story at all? Because what we saw was pretty badass. And did it play out the way that it appeared to?
Well, it didn't play out the way I wanted it to. I mean, and I'll tell you why in a second. But I before the shot, there's people around, they're out to watch and stuff like that. And he was kind of yakking off in the side. So, your radar's always up. You're always kind of like, okay, is somebody going to do something weird? So my radar was up. and I was lucky. If you remember the shot, he started screaming as he was coming toward me. So I thought to myself, do the shot, hit the target, drop the target, help the target up, and then finish your live shot as he's gasping for air. So the target is, man parts. But I would say I was just north of those parts, which is why he ran off. Because if you've ever hit anyone in the target, they're not going anywhere.
I'll take your word on it.
So I missed the target, and I just kept going. But my whole dream was target, drop target, say a couple of words, and then help the guy up, and then finish your live shot and throw back to the studio. That would have been awesome. So the next morning, he's on all the local stations, and I'm like, okay, you just gave this kid exactly what he was asking for. You gave him the 15 minutes of fame that he wanted. So I'm like, now you have encouraged other people, by the way, to put anchors that are in the field in harm's way. So I don't think people realize when they do that. I wish it would just have gone away personally, but no, they gave the kid his 15 minutes. Oh, I would do it again. If Cantore comes back, I'm going to get him again. I'm like, whatever. Okay, that's fine.
Well, I don't mean to give him undue attention, but I thought you might find this funny that he's a grown up now and he's a renowned chef in Charleston.
Oh my God. So you found him? You found this guy?
Yes, I found him. He's very Googleable. His name is Colin Marcelli, and he's
Italian,
the chef at Renzo, which is a restaurant here in Charleston. And just so you know, he's going to be a featured chef at the 2026 Charleston Wine and Food Festival.
Oh my God. So we have to go see him. We have to do the reunion.
So
you have to set this up.
I'll see you there, and we're going to go to this kid's booth.
No. Okay. Listen, if you don't think I made stupid mistakes as a kid, you're crazy. But
isn't that funny though?
Yeah, it would be great to kind of go do the reunion.
Okay. Okay. So also, people don't realize what a big food fan you are. You mentioned Euphoria, but when you're hitting all these hurricane stops on the road, what have you had food wise in some of these small communities that you've loved? Yeah.
So here's what I have that nobody else has on the road. It's called a pederack. Do you know what a pederack is?
Mm-mm.
Okay. A pederack is my producer, Steve Pederack.
Oh.
I mean, we're like brothers out there. Okay. And Steve and I have done this for 10 years now, and we kind of lift each other up. I mean, it's hard on the road. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of long hours. You're schlepping from here to there. And, they want you to come back in the morning, come back in the evening, come back. It's not easy. Anyway, but Steve is like, look, if we're going to be out here suffering, we're going to eat really well. So I'm like, Pederack, your assignment is to find us great places to eat. You know what I like. And I think he's like 70-1 or 70-2 in terms of great places to eat.
Nice.
The other thing too is it's like, okay, wait a minute. Do I want to go to Hilton Head or would I rather go to Charleston to cover the storm? I mean, if I have my choice, it's like, I'm going to Charleston.
Are you saying food determines where you're headed for hurricanes?
I mean, sometimes when it's that close, would I rather go to New Orleans or would I rather go to Mobile, Alabama? I think I'm going to go to New Orleans. I mean, sometimes, if that does come into play, I have a pederack.
So where's the best food in the country?
Oh my God. I mean, New Orleans is New Orleans. Charleston is Charleston. I love the food scene in Greenville. It's kind of an extension of Charleston into the upstate, which is just awesome. I go to this festival called Euphoria every year. And I mean, I sample some of the greatest food and the way they pair it with the wine. And now you pair stuff with bourbon and vodka and all these fancy. I mean, I just love food. Mm-hmm. Wilson's another one. So Alex Wilson, she's another one. She's always there. It's like, hey, Alex, what are we eating this year? We're total foodies. We love great food.
I saw you at the Charleston Wine and Food Festival last year, and I don't remember eating any food.
As a matter of fact, you did. I mean, now, as to how much you remember of that,
let's cut this part out, too. Before I let you go, I want you to address these articles and rumors that recently came out about retirement and health, because I saw this and my first reaction was like, oh no, what's going on with Jim? And then I called you and you were like, no, this is not a thing. So can you tell everybody, like, as much as you're willing to, about kind of where you are now and what the future holds for you?
Yes. I'm not retiring. I get checkups just like everybody else and everything's working fine. The thing I didn't like about those articles is there was some attack. Like I said, like Tammy was faking her Parkinson's. It's just, the guy doubled down. He got so much traction on the first one that he just went out and started doing a slew of another 5 or 10 of them. I don't even know what, but my company stood behind me. They helped get them taken down, and rightly so. So no, there's nothing. I still have till the end of 2026 on my current contract. Okay. Do I stay at the Weather Channel after that? I don't know. We'll see. Right. And I'd like to work a few more years at the very least, going out and covering some of the storms. I don't know if I want to get up at 3:00 in the morning after that, because I'm going to be honest with you. I've been doing this for a long time and it's hard. It's hard it wears the body down, and your whole day is just built around that morning shift.
I don't know how so like I say I retired at 40 because like I couldn't do it beyond that. Like I could not, there reached a point where I could not do the morning hours anymore. So I don't know how you're still doing it, but
it's discipline. Look at Roker. How old is Roker? He does it.
Yeah.
And then he goes and works at his production company after that. It's like, Al, I got to go to bed. I got to go home and take a nap. I need the beauty sleep. But, you do, they use the Energizer Bunny. It's absolutely unbelievable. Some people can handle it, but a lot of people I know, once you get into that 30, 40 year range of working mornings, you're done.
Yeah. Well, you're not slowing down anytime soon. That's for sure. Jim, thank you so much for your time today. Like, this was amazing. And I wish we were doing this in person, but still always good to see you. My forever conference buddy. I appreciate you all the time for everything.
Likewise. There's more wine to drink and there's more meteorology to learn and broadcast. And we're going to do it together, Em. We're going to do it together.
You're the best, Jim. Off the Radar is a production of the National Weather Desk. Make sure you're following the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. New episodes published every Tuesday. Thank you to Jim Cantore for the fun and candid conversation today. Also, thank you to the Weather Channel for giving me the go-ahead to interview Jim. Thanks to the National Weather Desk and Sinclair Broadcast Group for their ongoing support of the podcast. And as always, to my associate producer, Brian Petras. I'm meteorologist Emily Gracie. Make it a great day.
Yes, Mr. Gecko, you're a huge inspiration to us all. But who was your muse?
Oh, my dear old Nan. She imparted many wise words to me. She would say, never let the fame get to your head, always remember who you are, and let people get more than just savings with Geico's fast and friendly claim support. I lived up to her advice, and now anyone can file a claim anywhere and anytime. I miss her so much.
Did she go somewhere?
Yeah, extended quilting trip.
Oh.
Get more than just savings. Get more with Geico.